of that tune. Thank you for tuning. You're watching Psychology Today. My name is Bruce Buffington.
And I'm Ann Morrow.
Take it away, Ann.
Well, Bruce, let's start out by thanking Northwest Bicycle Safety Council for providing tonight's meal for our volunteer crew. And Bruce, tonight our show is going to focus a lot on women and bicycles, and our objective is to encourage women to bicycle if they want to, and how that can be accomplished, and how they can be comfortable and feel safe. But I don't want all the men to be racing away. I want them to watch too. This isn't information that is exclusive to women, and most men have a woman in their lives, a mom or a daughter or a sister, and somebody important that's a woman, and they might want to encourage them to bicycle too. So everybody should watch. We're going to talk a lot about the basics of bicycling and how to get into that sport.
Well, I appreciate you covering that because you just took all of my lines. I have.
Sorry, Bruce.
So basically, you're going to be interviewing Kelly Peterson and Lori Dreyer, who are from REI, and it's the REI Women on Bikes program, if I understand correctly. And so you've already mentioned you're going to be talking about basic cycling essentials for women. There's going to be a demonstration, as I understand, to kind of go over the bike itself, some gear and things like that. And also, we're going to have Alicia Buffington Alcantara, and she's going to appear on behalf of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council in the event corner. And I'd like to welcome our Salem viewers. We have Salem on board at CCTV, and our associate producer down there is Richard Blank. And so we will be having our replays shown in Salem, and we'll cover some of the activities that are going on in and around Salem as well. Well, Ann, I had a pretty good riding week, and I think the experience was very pleasurable because I didn't have one negative encounter with a motorist. How did your week go in that regard?
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Bruce. I really think that awareness is more and more prevalent from motorists and from bicyclists. I think we're all doing a lot better taking the roads. And yeah, I'd have to say that I had a good experience too. We kind of took our tandem out and pulled the trailer and rode to a parade. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, you know, when you have your demonstration and interview with Kelly and Lori, part of that interview is probably going to run about 15 minutes or so. Then we're going to show you a video. We've gotten a lot of inquiries in about bike boulevards and what are they and how they work. Well, we have a movie clip that's about 10 minutes long that was produced by Dan Kaufman of Crank My Chain. And Dan produced this on behalf of the Bicycle Transportation Alliance. And you might recognize somebody in that video, and then again, maybe not. Also, they had other bike boxes. I saw the bike boxes for the first time, an actual bike box, yesterday. Went cycling with the senior rollers. If you watched our show last month, we had Tony Montez on, who is the ride leader for the senior rollers, which is part of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. Well, we rode out to Kelly Point and back, and on the way back we encountered those bike boxes, and I kind of have a better understanding of how those are supposed to work now that I've seen one. Have you had an opportunity to observe one of those yet?
I've seen them. I haven't been in a bike box yet. So yeah, they're painting a lot of green on the streets in Portland.
And I must say, I think it's a pretty shade of green.
It is.
If I say so myself.
Gets your attention.
Now, Alicia's going to cover some topics of interest. She's also going to talk about some of the activities that are going on around town. She will probably share a few bicycle-related laws to us out of some very important manuals that everyone, I think, should read. One of them is the Motor Vehicle Manual. And if you haven't read that one in a while, you might want to take a look at it and peruse it. Quick read. There's also some bicycle law in there. And she's also probably going to cover a few things out of the bicycle magazine, so out of the bicycle manual, so that everyone knows their responsibility when they encounter one another on the road. You know what? I had a pedestrian encounter too. I was hit once, as you know, walking. And I talked to a gentleman just a couple of days ago. We were talking about cycling, and he said, you know, I've never been hit on my bicycle, but I got hit jogging. And so I said, well, it seems like it's safer to ride a bicycle than it is to jog and walk.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to turn things over to Alicia now, and she will cover some things, and then we'll have our Women on Bikes segment right after that. So take it away, Alicia.
Thanks, Bruce. My name's Alicia Buffington Alcantara, and I'm Executive Board Member for Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. First, I'd like to go over some events that we have scheduled for the month of June. On Saturday, June 7th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we have the Sunset Community Bike Safety Fair. On Saturday, June 14th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Cedar Hills Crossing Kids Safety Fair, and Northwest Bicycle Safety Council will be providing helmets. Saturday, June 14th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Legacy Salmon Creek Medical Center Healthy Kids Fair will be taking place. Volunteer or attend any one of these life-saving events. For more information and a complete list of events, please visit northwestbicyclesafetycouncil.org. That's nwbicyclesafetycouncil.org. There's also a list of rides, such as one Bruce mentioned, the Senior Rollers. They ride every Monday morning, and Women on Wheels. They have rides every Thursday and one Saturday a month. All of that information is on our website. So like Bruce and Ann were talking about, motorists and cyclists sharing the road together, I want to go over a few of those things. It's important as cyclists that we take responsibility for our actions as well. We can't blame everything on the motorist, and I think that we all will be able to get along and share the roads. A few weeks ago, my cousin, who lives in Los Angeles, text messaged me and asked if it was normal for cyclists to blow through stop signs and red lights when they're in groups. He said the first time it happened, he didn't think anything of it, but after it occurred several times, he thought maybe that's what they do. I assured him that this is not the way that we're supposed to be conducting ourselves, and that we are supposed to obey the laws of the road. When cyclists behave in that manner, it's unfortunate as it frustrates drivers and creates a possibility for cyclists to get injured. When I'm in the car with my non-cycling friends, they're usually complaining about cyclists on the road. I asked a few of them to give me their top complaints so that I can address them here, and I think it's important for us to be reminded of some of the laws that we all need to follow. One of the complaints that they had was that cyclists don't stop at red lights or stop signs. They sometimes also fail to give appropriate signals. It's very important to stop at all stop signs and traffic lights, and actually the Oregon Bicyclist Manual suggests that it's important to stop even when the light is yellow, because we might not have the appropriate time to get through the intersection, thus putting the motorist and ourselves in danger. Their second complaint was that cyclists don't stay in their spot in the lane. If we have to ride in the street and are unable to stay in a bike lane or a path that's provided, it's very important to keep your place in line. If motorists are turning left and the cyclist wants to keep going through, that can create a real danger. So it's important to wait, take your turn, let the motorist proceed, and then have your turn. The third thing that caused some concern was cyclists weaving in between lanes. This seems rather obvious, but sometimes we just need to be reminded of these things. It's very important to stay in your lane. Motorists, especially in Portland, I believe, want to be considerate of our needs. However, when we're going in and out of lanes and make it hard to be seen, they're not able to keep our safety first. So keep those things in mind when you're riding your bicycle. Since I've lived in Portland, I've listened to some afternoon radio shows that have discussed how cyclists annoy them or frustrate them. Really, I think it's just frustration, and oftentimes they're discussing things that really are just the laws not being followed. I think if we all do our part and follow the laws, we'll be able to create more harmony between motorists and cyclists. So please keep in mind all of those laws. Since I've lived in Portland, I've had the opportunity of enjoying our great community for riding my bike, and I've really loved it. After all, Portland just received the Platinum Award for Most Bicycle-Friendly City. Let's work together on keeping that up. Thanks.
Thank you, Alicia. That was very informative. Now we're going to work with our guests, and we have Kelly Peterson here to my immediate right, and Lori Dwyer on the bicycle. And we are women. We ride our bikes with women, and Kelly and Lori work at REI in Hillsborough, and they work with women getting their bicycles and getting gear and learning how to ride. So we're going to talk to them and use their expertise and experience and talk about how to buy a bike, what kind of gear you need, where you can ride a bike, and those kinds of things. And as I said earlier, this is for men too. It's not exclusive to women, but our objective this evening is to encourage women to get out and ride their bikes. If they want to start riding the bike, how to do it, how to feel comfortable, how to be independent and safe. So my name is Ann Morrow, as one of the hosts of this show, and my bicycling experience is I'm a recreational bike rider. I ride a road bike for the most part. I ride on the back of a tandem with my husband, and I'm very involved with Portland Wheelman Touring Club, and I lead bicycle rides, and I ride with the club. I've done Cycle Oregon and week-long bike trips and that sort of thing. So, Lori, why don't you tell us kind of your history of bicycling and what kind of rides you do?
Sure. I've done a little bit of everything. You know, kind of started out BMX with my brother and moved into road riding first, got into mountain biking, did some touring overseas with a mountain bike, and then did a little mountain bike racing, kind of now back into road riding, doing some tours, and actually we just did the Cookie Monster ride a few weeks ago, and there's a group of us from REI getting ready for STP, so we've been doing some longer rides. So more recreational now.
And Kelly, what about you?
Well, I started on BMX bikes too when I was a kid, and you know, you ride bikes, you know, most of your life, and there was a time in my life where I didn't have a car in the early 90s, and so I had to ride a bike to work, and you know, I didn't know all the laws, I didn't have a helmet, I rode on the wrong side of the road, so I really got introduced into really riding with traffic, and then, you know, I ended up buying my first road bike in about early 2000, and really started learning the rules of the road and doing some longer bike rides and riding in groups and that kind of thing. And then I joined REI soon after that, and got involved with riding with other people and getting involved in the bridge pedal, and some of those organized rides really helped me with, you know, riding in groups and that kind of thing. And so since then I've just been, you know, riding longer rides and mostly recreational and for fitness and that kind of thing.
And you do some bike commuting too, don't you?
I do.
Still, on the right side of the road. With
on the right side of the road in the bike lane,
Well.
I follow the traffic laws.
Oh, yeah.
So, Kelly, you were for REI, and what do you do there that involves bicycles and bicycling?
Well, actually, when I first started at REI, I was just on the floor selling bikes in the bike department, and currently I'm an assistant store manager of that department, Action Sports, with bikes and camping and that kind of thing. So I'm very involved in with the training of staff and overseeing the shop and all the outreach activities that go along with that department.
Okay. And Lori, how about you at REI?
I've been with REI a long time. I've worked in the bike department on and off through the years. I'm also the other assistant manager at our store. So Kelly has all the toys right now, and I have more operational side, but that'll change soon. And but I work with outreach a lot, so that's kind of my main thing in the store right now.
And so you both have had women customers coming in and asking you questions. So we're going to hopefully rely on that kind of experience this evening. Let's start with purchasing a bike. Lori, we've got you up on a bike, and we've got another bike here on the other side. And let's talk about the elements of somebody just getting started, starting from scratch. I want to ride a bike. What should they be considering?
Kelly.
Well, I think first of all, you need to decide, you know, where you want to ride. Do you want to ride on trails, or do you want to ride on neighborhoods or bike trails, that kind of thing? If you want to do longer mileage, or you do want to just start out short recreational rides, that kind of thing. What Lori's on is more of it's a lighter weight road bike for maybe some longer distances, maybe some commuting, that kind of thing. What we have over to the left here is what they call a comfort or hybrid bike, which is a combination between mountain and road. So the idea behind that bike is you're sitting up a little straighter, a little more comfortable, kind of designed for lower mileage, not really long rides. There's a lot of adjustability, and there's some shock absorbing things on that bike, which just make it a really comfortable ride. And so for those ladies that come in generally just getting started, a lot of times we sell the hybrid bike to them because it's just very comfortable and easy to get on. And
so a first consideration is to think about, just like buying a car, what do I need this for? What, like you're saying,
Exactly.
what do I want to do? And personally, I've found as the years go by, I need a fleet of bikes. I need a mountain bike, a
Yeah.
road bike, a rain bike.
yeah, exactly.
So, you know, this is just a first purchase. So, commuting is big right now, and I think a lot of people are thinking about commuting. So you're saying this might be a possibility for a shorter commute, and you could wear your work clothes and that sort of thing if you wanted to. If it's real short, that's real in right now, to wear your summer clothes to get to work.
Yeah.
And this bike, like you're talking about training for STP, which is typically a 2-day ride or a 1-day ride. It's STP means Seattle to Portland. You ride your bike 200 miles from Seattle to Portland. So
Hopefully.
of course. So this might be a good bike for that kind of ride, and you're kind of more upright, and it's a lighter weight bike. And okay. So now we've talked about just basically to hit the surface on considering what kind of bike to ride, and certainly go to a bike shop and talk to people about it. Think about what you want to accomplish with your bike. So next would be where to ride safely. And we brought some books this evening to encourage people. Do either of you have any ideas, just starting out riding a bike? What would you suggest people do?
Well, I'd say first of all, you know, maybe riding around your neighborhoods, especially if you're recreational, just getting to know the roads and your routes and that kind of thing. And there's a great map out there that Portland puts out. I apologize I didn't bring it. It's called Bike There, and it color codes the roads, so you have roads with bike lanes, and it has a color code for that, and it shows roads that have high traffic and that kind of thing, no bike lanes and that kind of thing. And that's a really great map. You can really choose your route around town.
Yeah.
And the bike trails too. It actually will tell you where the bike trails are.
So that would be a good resource if you're thinking about commuting, and how
Yes.
do I get from my house to work safely and not be on the main street or the freeway.
Sure. So some recreational, like heading out to Forest Park and Leif Erikson, great. You know, you can take kids with you. You don't have traffic. Spring Water Corridor,
Yes.
the waterfront. Though you have a lot of walking traffic, it's still kind of a nice, you know, enjoyable ride
Yes.
and very pretty and scenic, and gets you downtown. So.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation too. One of the books that you brought, and it's available at the bike stores and at bookstores, Recreational Rides Around Portland. And it's exactly that. Getting on your bike, not on the city streets, but just riding on trails and that sort of thing. So you don't need to worry about traffic, so that you become comfortable with the bike, how to stop it, how to shift the gears, you know, just being comfortable on it. And you don't have to worry about the laws and that sort of thing. You just have a ride. And certainly keep in mind, if you're on any of these trails, they are multi-use trails. So you need to be cognizant of the fact that there's pedestrians. Some of these trails allow horses, and so you have to be courteous and share. But this is an excellent resource if you haven't been on the bike for a long time and you're just kind of getting into it. And like you say, you can take children and do family rides and that sort of thing. Another book series is this Rubber to the Road, 30 rides around Portland, and there's volume 2, some more rides around Portland. And these two give you good routes to practice riding, and this is when you're ready for the streets and ready to obey the traffic laws, as Alicia was trying to explain a little bit to us, how to ride out in the streets. And you need to know the laws of the land and follow the motor vehicle laws. So when you're ready for that, these books are a good resource. I'm not sure if this book is still published, but Best Bike Rides Around Portland is also another good, lots of different routes and cue sheets, areas to ride here around Portland. And that's a big help if you're looking for where to ride, and, you know, just get your friends together and do a bike ride. Kelly, you brought this from REI, Bicycling the Back Roads of Northwest Oregon, and I'm not familiar with this book. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it's got some bike rides kind of outside of the city, some longer bike rides with low traffic roads, and really pretty rides out in the country. And yeah, it's a great book.
And I see covered bridges, that's always a big draw. And then Alicia was alluding to earlier, we've got the Oregon Bicycle Manual, and if you're getting into bicycling, that's a good thing to review. A lot of us are motorists, but we forget some of the laws, and it's good to read this again and think of it in the context of being a bicyclist. And also, local attorney Ray Thomas has just put out a new edition of his legal guide for the Oregon bicyclist, and it's literally got the statutes, the Oregon statutes in it. And I think it's good to be armed with the law, so you know your rights and you know how to ride on the streets. I think it makes a big difference if you're less intimidated. And so those are all good resources. Now, as Alicia said, we're in Portland, and Portland was just awarded the Platinum Award for the Platinum Award by the League of American Bicyclists. So Portland, Vancouver, Washington County are all improving the infrastructure for bicyclists. So like Bruce said, one of the things that comes up is the bicycle boulevards, and that's one of the reasons Portland went platinum, is because of bicycle boulevards. So we're going to watch a video now, and Bruce is featured in this video, so watch for him. And we're going to learn more about the bicycle boulevards in Portland and how they function for cyclists and how they provide a safe place to ride your bike in Portland.
Yeah, but what about this one?
Ow, my toe! Hey, no!
Look, can the kids go to the park and play? I mean, what about the bikes they got last Christmas?
Are you kidding me? That traffic's not safe to ride bicycles in. Why don't you just pile the kids and the bikes in the van and take them to the park yourself?
You know that I don't have time. We've got to get these bills in the mail, and you know, I don't know how we're going to pay the gas card this month, not to mention the gym membership, which we never use.
Well, you could get your old mountain bike down out of the garage and, I don't know, ride your bike to work.
You're right. You're right. It's not safe out there.
Do you feel that your neighborhood streets aren't safe for you and your children? That it's impossible to juggle work, errands, family, and exercise? There is a way out of this trap. It's by tapping into B2 Power. It's all about making your streets lovable. And the secret starts with this ingenious contraption. Let's go to our transportation expert, Mr. Bruce Buffington, to speak about the bicycle.
The bicycle is the most efficient means of transportation we know of. For most trips, a bicycle can get you to your destination almost or even faster than a car and at much less expense. Most adults can ride a leisurely rate of 10 miles per hour and can make a trip of 3 miles in less than 20 minutes. This map shows the locations cyclists can reach quickly and without perspiring. Bicycling infrastructure also is cost-effective. People aged 9 to 90 can ride bicycles safely in traffic, especially if bicycles are considered in the local transportation planning. I hope that helps, Timo.
That's it. That's the secret behind B2 Power. For B2 stands for Bicycle Boulevards. Let me say it again, Bicycle Boulevards. It's the simplicity of the bicycle programmed into your neighborhood street. Bicycle Boulevards make it easy for you your friends and your family to get around. Bicycle boulevards make your neighborhood more livable. Bicycle boulevards make your street lovable. Yes?
Sounds pretty good, but isn't a bicycle boulevard just a bicycle lane? You know, what's the benefit to me? I don't ride a bike.
I'm glad you asked. The advantage of bicycle boulevards is what we're going to show today. And first, let me say that bicycle boulevards aren't just for bicycles. They're a neighborhood safety enhancement. Your neighborhood benefits even if you aren't a cyclist. But let's take it back to Mr. Buffington for an explanation of how bicycle boulevards work.
Bicycle boulevards are an innovative approach to developing safe and efficient roadways targeted to all types of non-motorized commuters. A bicycle boulevard is a shared street that has been optimized for bicycle traffic. In contrast with other shared roadways, bicycle boulevards discourage motorists from cutting through and speeding while allowing local traffic. They're designed to give priority to cyclists as a through-going vehicle. So here's a typical neighborhood street. To make it more bike-friendly, we eliminate many of the stop signs. This allows the bikers to keep their momentum, but this action alone would only add to the fast-moving cut-through traffic in the neighborhood. Traffic calming features are added so bicycles and cars travel at similar speed, and pass-through motorists will choose routes designed for higher auto traffic. Speed bumps and mini traffic circles help limit car speed. Diverters reduce the amount of car traffic on neighborhood streets. Signage and pavement markings make crosswalks more noticeable, help cyclists find their way, and alert cars to the presence of cyclists. And specialized signals help cyclists cross at busy or dangerous intersections. And now, back to you, Timo.
Thanks, Bruce. Some of the solutions that we've just seen are highly effective and can be installed at minimal cost. I see some hands.
I'm concerned. If you're turning my street into a bicycle boulevard, does that mean that I won't be able to drive or park on my street?
This all seems doable, but I'm really not sure I want it running through my neighborhood. Is it really safe?
Residents love these neighborhood greenways, but don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some folks who live near a bicycle boulevard.
I thought if I lived on a bicycle boulevard that I wouldn't be able to drive up to my door or park in front of my house. And it turns out I was wrong. I can actually pull right up to the door, park in front of my house, and better yet, drivers are no longer speeding down my street.
Since they turned our street into a bike boulevard, our neighborhood is just a nicer place to live.
And accessibility, I love being able to go to the hardware store, the coffee shop, and the library in no time flat.
I use bike boulevards every day. I wish I had one in my neighborhood. There's such a sense of community and safety that you don't have on the regular streets.
I love this idea, Timo, but can we really get City Hall on board?
Great question. Let's take it to City Hall.
I'm a big supporter of bike boulevards. Bike boulevards are safe, bike boulevards are cost effective, they help alleviate traffic congestion, and neighbors love them because it keeps their streets quiet.
Thanks, Tim. I'd say this is a perfect time to take a closer look into how the City of Portland is currently tapping into B2 power.
Bicycle boulevards have changed my life. I ride them to work because it's the fastest way to get there. And I get my exercise too. I'm more alert, more confident, and I've lost 15 pounds. But gotta go. Today is the first day of my new promotion.
We bike everywhere. Let's race.
Come on, kids. Ready to go?
B2 Power can make your streets lovable. And I hope you see that bicycle boulevards don't just benefit cyclists. They invigorate a city's transportation system and make neighborhood streets feel, well, more like a neighborhood. Tap into B2 Power by working with neighborhood organizations and your local leaders. Join and support bicycle advocacy organizations. And visit bikeblvd.com on the internet. I'm Timo Forsberg, and thank you for watching B2 Power. And check out bikeblvd.com.
Well, okay. I hope that video helped make people a little more enthusiastic about cycling. I know I feel more enthusiastic. That was a great video. Let's, we're in the platinum bicycle-friendly city of Portland, and we're riding our bikes, but what if something goes wrong? What if we have a flat tire? Or something goes wrong. Is there AAA for bicycles? What do we do? Let's talk about gear. We've got a lot of safety gear. First of all, to prevent something from going wrong, and I think one item of prevention would be, just like your car, have maintenance done to your bike. You can do some of it yourself. You can take it to the bike shops and have things done. I think I'll let you, Kelly, show us some of the gear that you've brought with you, and Lori, you join in and talk about some of these items.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you're starting any bike ride, what you want to take with you is probably a cell phone if you're alone, and your ID, and probably a map of where you're going. And that's the first thing you want to do. And then as far as bike safety goes, critical, always wear a helmet. That's probably the #1 thing to wear. Lori's also got sunglasses on her head.
But they go good on the eyes
yeah, they're
too,
supposed to go
know.
on the face. But that's really good if bugs go flying and hitting you eye. If it hits you in the eye, you may fall, that kind of thing. So it's good to have some safety protection for your eyes. The other thing that Lori's wearing here are bike gloves. Not only do they have padding for comfort, but if you did happen to fall, first thing you tend to do is to put your hands out, and it really protects your hands from getting all scraped up. So it's kind of a nice safety
I've never
comfort
fallen,
feature.
so it's really more comfort.
Yeah. The other thing that she's kind of wearing a bright jacket on, and it's really important to be very visible when you're riding to cars, whether it's daylight or dusk. So this is just one thing that she's got on, and there's other things that you can wear over anything that you happen to be riding with. This happens to be just a fluorescent vest. You can throw on anything that you're wearing. And
Great
that
for
makes
commuters who don't necessarily change their clothes before work.
Sure.
But you want to be visible, especially rainy, dark. Yeah.
And this is kind of neat. Any bike shop will probably carry these really fluorescent stickers. You can put these on the back of your helmet. You can stick them on your handlebars or on the back of your backpack or even your jacket that you're wearing, and they really show up. So that's a nice safety feature right there. The other thing, if you're riding at dusk, lights are nice. Any sort of a light that you have in the front or the back just makes you, again, more visible to cars as they're coming at you and from behind. So that's another good safety feature. I think the other thing that's very important when you get started riding is some sort of hydration, and probably like a power bar or some foods. Even on the shorter rides, hydration is just really important.
It is, and I think regardless of the length of your ride, I think, like you're saying, you should always have some kind of fluid available, whether or not you even need it, just have it, and something to eat, whether or not you ever eat it, just so you have it. As you get into the sport, you find that, well, at least I do, you bonk or hit the wall, or your blood sugars drop and you don't have enough fuel. And if you're out there anywhere and can't get something to eat, it can really make it difficult to get where you're trying to get. So just be prepared. Think about things like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, as far as, you know, maintenance on your bike, if you do get a flat out there, there's several all bike shops that do some sort of, you know, probably free clinics on bike maintenance and how to change your tire and that kind of thing. But it's probably pretty important to carry some of the really basic tools you'll need to change your flat. And this just happens to be a little bag that you could carry underneath your seat here that would carry all your really basic essentials, or a backpack. But just to point out just a couple little things, like a little bike lever, and that's just to help take your tire off of your bike. An extra tube, I didn't bring a tube, an extra tube for your wheel, your tire, easy to put that in and out. A little patch kit is something you can also bring with you on your bike ride. And just a really basic tool is another thing you can have in your little kit. And it's probably very important to have some sort of a pump. So
we've got two pumps here. This one would be one that you could carry in your backpack, or some of them will attach to the frame of the bicycle, so you've got it with you. Then you've got this great big humongous one that you might not want to tote around with you.
Yeah, this thing you'd like to, before you ride, probably every other time you ride, you want to check the air pressure in your tires. That'll really help prevent any flats that you have. And on your tire itself, it'll tell you what pressure you need to have your tires at, and then the gauge will tell you here. So, and it's really easy to pump those your tires up to where you need it to be, and that'll really help prevent flats.
Well, that one's kind of neat. When you get into biking, you'll see everybody's used to a valve, so like a car valve, and that's how I relate to customers who come in and they'll say, well, I'm like, what, they need a pump, and they're like, well, I'm like, first I'll say, you need a presser or Schrader, and then they look at me like I'm crazy, and then I'm like, is it just like your car, or is it kind of this weird skinny thing? And so then a pump like that has the valves. You don't have to switch anything around. You just have both options. And a lot of folks, they may have kids' bikes that have that type of valve, and then a lot of the adult bikes. And as you pay more, you seem to get that other valve, and they'll have that. So you can have it for the whole family, utilize that pump.
Yeah, but there's lots of resources out there to learn how to change your flat.
Yes.
At REI, we'll do a women's bicycle basic essential free clinic we'll do in the store in July, and that'll be posted on the website when that is exactly. But I help teach that class, and it's free. And they can come in and we'll show them how to do some of this stuff and how to ride.
Yes, and it's really important to know how to do that, because inevitably you will have a flat. Although a friend was telling me that there's a bike commuter that, you know, there's a lot of really strong tires and that sort of thing. So if you're just commuting and riding a few miles, maybe you can put some super duper hefty tires on your bike that are less prone to flat, and you're less likely to have that issue.
Right, and there are liners you can put in there and different things, kind of, even tubes that are, like you said, thicker. So there are other options. And the nice thing is Portland is so biker friendly, and if you are commuting within the city, you probably will have 30 other bikers go by you while you're fixing your flat, and I'm pretty sure half of them will ask if you're all right.
Yes.
So we're lucky that way.
Yes, and kind of as an aside, I think that's something you learn as you cycle, is you're courteous to other bicycles.
Yeah.
You're not isolated in a vehicle, and you often do call out, do you have everything you need, to a fellow cyclist, and you would stop and give them a tube or help them pump up their tire. People will help you, and you help other people. Yeah. It's a great community. So have we covered pretty much, well, oops, here's a computer. We haven't talked about this.
Yeah, and this is kind of it's a nice to have, not a need to have necessarily, but it's like an odometer in your car. You can attach that right to your handlebar right here, and it'll show you how far you've ridden and how fast you've ridden and the time that you've ridden and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a fun, and the total miles for the year that you've ridden if you want to keep track of that. So that's kind of a fun little
then you can figure out what you saved in gas, and then you can go on a nice vacation.
Or buy a better
bike. Or buy a new bike.
Yeah.
Justify, for sure.
Yeah. And the other thing that Lori's wearing, and I think it's important when you're first getting into biking, just to wear nice, comfortable clothing that's not binding. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy the most expensive bike gear out there, but some of the things that she happens to be wearing, like the capris that she's wearing actually has a padded short you can actually pop right out of there. And gives you some nice comfort on longer rides, and it just gets you used to, you know, because you do get a little sore when you first get going.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of shorts out there. I'll just show you a couple examples. And these all have pads in there. So this just looks like a regular short, and she's got the capris on, and then this is just more of a road biking, so it's a little more form-fitting, but it's also got the padding in the butt, which really helps.
Yes, and again, for shorter rides, you can probably get by with just the regular shorts.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
try to think not Levi's or something with a big seam down the middle, but your lighter weight shorts for riding. But really, if you're going to do like Seattle to Portland or a long ride, you've almost got to have that padding to be able to survive, because it's painful. Wherever your body is touching the bike, your hands, your
the
on the
contacts,
seat,
point of contacts.
the point of contacts, and your feet are the things you really need to focus on and spend as much money as you can to protect those areas.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you've got some pretty nifty looking shoes on. What's the importance of shoes?
So cycling shoes, even though, you know, these are a nice sport, casual, they're, as all of your shoes are flexible because we walk in them, and so at the ball of your foot they'll flex. Well, these won't. And what that's going to do, well, I'm not going to flex when I'm pedaling. I want a nice hard surface, so it's more efficient to have that stiff platform underneath your foot. So that's regardless if you see those racers and those kind of goofy looking shoes, or you see a comfortable one like this. It's comfort on the upper, but it's still going to have that performance on the top. People buy these all the time for spin classes, and they'll do their first spin class and come back, and they'll be like, everybody has these biking shoes, why do I need them? It's the exact same reason. It's more efficient on the bicycle.
Now while we're looking at your feet, those pedals on your bike have straps and things. Talk a little bit about why those are there, and then some shoes have cleats that you would clip into a pedal on a bicycle. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Okay. So again, more efficiency and offer safety as well. So if you're riding on the road quite a bit, it's going to keep my foot on top of the pedal, and it's going to help me pull up as well as push down. As Ann was saying, there's a clipless option, so you won't see this, and I don't know if you can see, but at the bottom of the shoe, you can incorporate a cleat that clicks in. If anybody skied or anything like that, it's kind of like that type of concept. You click in, and now you're part of it, and you just twist out to release, and that's probably, well, is the most efficient way to ride. It takes a little bit for folks to wrap themselves around that concept, but it actually it really is probably even safer than a toe clip, and I'm not going to, don't hold me to that, but you can get out of it easier than a toe clip. And then just a regular, you know, if I'm just on a street corner and I want to just get going, I can't get my foot into it, well, I got the other side of the pedal I can pop on, get going, and then once I'm moving, I can kind of flip it back and get back into it, maybe. I use clipless pedals. I haven't used a toe clip in a long time.
But again, the clipless idea isn't something you need to get into immediately. We're just get on the bike and have some fun, and then start looking into how you might be more efficient if you want to ride those longer distances and that sort of thing. And a commuter might not need them at all.
Right. And just for safety alone, you know, flip-flops or even sandals are probably not the greatest idea when you're first getting into cycling, because if you do kind of trip or fall over, you're not going to have any support, and your foot may get all
Good point.
scraped up. So some sort of shoe, whether it's a cycling shoe or even just a hiking shoe or a tennis shoe, is better than probably a flip-flop or sandal.
And again, thinking about the hard sole
Right.
rather than what you might find most comfortable for hanging around.
Right.
Okay. And what looks like, let's see, I see this vest too that we haven't shown, another clothing option that's bright, bright, bright.
Yeah, and this one again is for safety. It's just one of the really bright things that you can put on to be very visible. When I was doing the bridge battle a few times and I hadn't gotten one of these before, I could see people from a long ways away, and it's actually, I mean, very fluorescent. So it's one of the more visible pieces of clothing out there.
And we talked about hydration, and a lot of people, there are bicycle water bottles, and you might put a cage on the frame of your bicycle to carry a water bottle. A lot of people really like the camelbacks, especially for the longer distances. Why don't you explain this a little bit?
Yeah, this particular one, the bladder, you can open this up and you can put anywhere from 1 liter to 2 liters of water inside this backpack, and then you can, if Lori wants to throw that on, it's got a tube that comes around the top, and it's just really easy to, you know, drink and not have to reach down and grab a bottle as you're riding your bike. So, and it has a lot of fluid in there, and there's all different sizes of those, but that one happens to be one that doesn't have a lot of extra capacity, just for water.
It's just the basic.
But you can get them where you can carry your, you know, pump and
they're essentially a
snacks.
backpack in a lot of ways, and they carry the water.
And there is a difference, you know, because we're at REI, we have all the camping equipment and all that stuff too, and hydration is throughout the board on all those activities. A biking one is actually going to fit a little different, and not that, you know, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be that techie, though you start to become like us. But it does kind of fit better on the shoulders, a little higher up on the back, so it's not, so a cycling specific one will be a little bit more comfortable if you're going longer distance on it. Mountain bikers wear a ton because they are dependent, you know, they don't have a cafe that they're going to ride by.
Yeah.
So you will carry more stuff, more water with you.
And the heat that we sometimes have here in the Northwest, on a really hot day, it's excellent to have. You just can't haul enough water bottles on your bike. That's an excellent backup so you don't get in a jam. Or you might put some kind of sports drink in the water bottle and fresh water in the camelback so that you have everything that you need.
And I think the kind of the basic rule is drink before you're thirsty, eat before you're hungry. So you're not to that point where, oh my God, I'm really thirsty or I'm hungry. That's usually, like you said, bonking.
Yes.
That's, you lose all your energy. And
yeah, good point. That as cyclists, you want to think about food and water as fuel. And so you really need to think about perhaps a long ride that you might be doing, and even like STP, maybe the Wednesday before, you're thinking about carbs and proteins and how do I need to eat and get ready for this ride.
And then some other things, so weather changes within the day that you need to think about, or within your ride, and this is Oregon, so we all know it can change from you know, hour to hour. So kind of being prepared in the clothing you take with you on the ride. So you know, you leave in the early morning, you may want something, a wind light jacket like this, right? But you want to be able to stow it as well, put it away, so then when it's 90, you can wear that. So then you can, this thing is great. I have one, and it actually goes into its own pocket, reverses into it. It's no bigger than a banana, and you can just pop it in your back pocket, so it's pretty great. So,
yeah, and there's like vests that are a lot like that. You can get kind of wind vest that also really is actually great, cutting the wind and just giving you that extra warmth. It's really light and very packable. So that'll all go into your back pocket as well.
Well, I think we're near the end of our time, and I think we've covered a lot of what we wanted to cover. And thank you, Kelly and Lori, for being with us.
Thank you.
And I want to encourage women. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of resources out there. There's the internet, and certainly if you don't have the internet, pick up the phone and make some phone calls. But let me go over some of the resources. You talked about REI has a free clinic this summer for women to help women understand the bicycle and maintenance, fixing a flat tire, that sort of thing. Some of the other bike shops, Bike Gallery in Portland, which has many shops, has flat tire repair and basic maintenance, showing you how to shift gears and use the gears that are on your bike. That's certainly important. And bike commuting. They also have women-specific bike rides. And River City Bike Shop has commuting classes, bike maintenance, and women-specific rides. Portland Velo is a local bicycle club, and they have the Saturday morning classic rides, and they have different levels of rides. And so if you're a beginning rider or a woman rider, the slower ride might be good if you can ride like 13 to 15 miles an hour. And I would tell people, if you're going to go to a club ride, to make sure as a new rider, find the ride leader, be assertive, say, I'm a new rider, I've never ridden with a bike club before, what do I need to know? We, as bike ride leaders, we try to tell people the rules of the road and some of the things we'll say and do with our hands and things, but we sometimes forget. So be assertive and make yourself known if you go to a bike club ride. So Portland Velo, again, has rides. Go to the internet and look for their schedule. Sorella Forte is a bicycle club specific for women. They will encourage you, they will help you get on the road, and I think they'll take you up to race level if that's what you want to do. So they're available to help. We've talked about the City of Portland. The City of Portland has lots of maps. They have just lots of different things available to help you learn how to ride. They'll help you commute, all that kind of thing. Portland Wheelman Touring Club, another local bicycle club, also has family rides, which are probably 6 to 10 miles in length, using that recreational rides around Portland book a lot for trails and that sort of thing. And welcome rides, which tend to be 25 to 30 miles in length, and those are, you need to ride about 13 to 15 miles an hour, but those are social rides, group rides, geared to help people learn how to ride with a group. If you're getting ready for STP or something like that, you could ride those and learn how to ride with people, what you need. They're an opportunity to talk about cycling and find out from others what you might need, or about gear, things that maybe we didn't cover this evening. Also, there are other social rides with the Portland Wheelman, and there are event rides offered through Portland Wheelman too, and the Salem Bicycle Club, and lots of different clubs. And finally, the Community Cycling Center, which has a women's basic maintenance class and women's urban cycling class, and might be a good place to get an inexpensive bicycle. So that's a lot. I think we've covered a lot of territory. Lori, do you have any, maybe an epiphany or some kind of occurrence that might be encouraging to other women?
I think, I mean, I've done a lot of riding, but actually getting in group rides, which I really never did until I started working at REI. We had a women's cycling series for on and off over the past few years, and I helped with that. I know Kelly helped start that program. But actually seeing how many people, you know, all these women came and really wanted that knowledge and to get to be part of it, and the enthusiasm, I was like, this is pretty cool, and I want to help out more with that. So.
Well, I want to thank everyone. This was a very good demonstration. I think it was a fantastic show. You guys did a wonderful job. Everybody did great presentations today. I want to thank our viewers for tuning in. Also, Salem, don't forget, you're going to have the replays. They're going to be on CCTV, and we're going to keep them coming right at you. We're going to talk about some of the rides you have going on in your areas. And if you have any things of concern, please contact us at www.nwbicyclesafetycouncil.org. Also like to thank our sponsors, like to thank our guests, and I'd like to thank the crew in the booth. In fact, if they could get a shot of themselves in there and give us a quick wave, I think they did a wonderful job on the transition here. And there's our executive director back there with his crew and assistant directors back there that bring this show to you every month. Our show in June is going to feature a physical fitness expert that's going to show you how to get yourself tuned up, toned up, and get yourself in all-around good shape. We're going to have a demonstration, and I guarantee you that I am not going to be the one involved in that demonstration, because there's no way this body is going to bend like a pretzel. One thing I'd like to remind you of is, in order to obey the law, you have to know the law. And remember, you're responsible for your own safety. So please look out for one another and share the road. Ann, do you have any parting words for our visitors, our viewers?
Well, I just hope that you've gotten some encouragement, and women, I hope you know that you can be a bicyclist, and I hope you'll come out and join us. And reach out for help. We're here. And we hope to see Alicia on the show. I know she'll be doing some of the, what do you call the public service announcements, so you'll be seeing her again. It looks like they're signing off, and this is Bruce Buffington. And I'm Ann Morrow.
And we will see you next time. Please, please share the road.